In this season at Level Up Stronger, we're speaking with women across the globe who have found careers in male-dominated trades industries. It's often hard for women to see themselves in these male-dominated careers, but there are a whole lot of kick-ass women who are not only working in trades, but thriving. So we explore how they got there, what it's like now, and get their advice on how to get started. In today's podcast, we meet Julia Weiser, a commercial electrician. As an apprentice today, it's tougher than ever, especially for girls in trades like Julia. A major electrical company recognized Julia's skill and passion, so they hired her, a woman in a male-dominated industry, and are providing on-the-job training and paying for her to go to school. Julia, like all women in trades, is super inspiring. Did you know that less than 3% of all electricians are women? So you can imagine that there are a lot of challenges and barriers to entering this career for any woman considering this type of field, and still more challenges to thrive. Julia sat down with me this week to discuss how she became an apprentice electrician and how we can bring more women to the trade. In our conversation, she describes what it's like to land a job that guarantees that you can both go to work and learn your craft at the same time. She shares the joys of finally realizing that she can do anything she sets her mind to and the relief of having a steady paycheck and a career path with exponential growth. Welcome to the show, Julia. So why don't you first tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the electrical trades?
My dad's a roofer. He owns his own company. So trades has been my entire life. Growing up, it was always I have two brothers as well. So they get to work with dad. Daughter comes along and works with dad. So I've always been like an on-site daughter, which has been super fun. And I always kind of wanted to become an electrician. I have zero idea why, but I had an epiphany a year ago. And I was like, I'm not happy with where I am with my job. I want to do what I actually want to do. So I just started applying at places. Zero experience, zero schooling, just see what happens. And I got hired with this amazing company.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they hired me pretty much on the spot. And there's only 2 women, I believe, in our company that actually are on the tools. And there's about 150 employees on the tools. So wow. 2 out of 150 are just us 2 women.
That is amazing. And I actually was just sitting here reading some stats. You know, there are less than 3% of the electricians are women. Out of all, less than 3%. I was astounded by that because I usually really pay attention to the HVAC because we hire a lot of HVAC people. And I think they're around 8 to 10% are women, but 3% of electricians are actually women. So you were among a very small percentage of ladies working in that industry.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. And that was just a New York Times article followed around a lady who I guess either owns an electrical business or I'm not sure exactly what she did. But yeah, 3%, less than 3%. It was like 2.4%. Like it's not even 3%, which is crazy. So tell us a little bit about a day in the life of what you do. You're an electrical apprentice, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a first year. I'm actually just entering my second year, which is super exciting. I'm going to school. I have back-to-back first and second school. So I'm super stoked about that. But a day in the life really varies. I've been sent to about 4 different sites now. And not including I've worked 2 months out of town. So we can do anything from what I'm doing now, which is slab work. It's not pretty work at all. You're working with rebar guys who are putting up their rebar, getting ready to pour concrete in. So we have to get our pipes ready for all the underground work.
So you're mostly in commercial sites? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a commercial electrician. So we do a lot of high rises and just a lot of that.
You were hired on there first and then decided to go back to school, correct?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure if I was going to go to school because it's never been a high priority on my list. But my company was like, no, it'd be great for you to go to school. Like they're putting me through, they're paying for it. So it's been like a great opportunity for me here.
That's really great that you found a company that was willing to not only hire in a male-dominated industry, but then is now paying for you to go to school.
Yeah.
Women need to understand, and I think this is a key pivotal time in history right now, because less and less people are going into trades and less young people are really going into trades. And you have the baby boomers are leaving. So now is a pivotal time in history when more than any other time ever, women have like really great opportunities here to not only jump into a company, we're hurting for employees. So I think you have stumbled across, I think, a key component.
Oh, yeah.
Women need to really consider that you don't have to have the money to go to school.
No, that's another thing is most companies, and I've even talked to my own boss about this. He said a lot of the trades companies here, I don't know about everywhere, but they have to have a minimum requirement of women or minorities. So for a woman to apply for a job in the trades, they're pretty much guaranteed that job. There's like a mandatory need for them. And on top of that, our government grants are almost double for women going to school than for men. I'll be making double just from the grants that the government's providing for me.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So are you in a union shop then? Because it's commercial? No, it's not union.
No, I'm one of the companies that is non-union, but we're a huge company.
Okay.
The owner of my company, he's like in with a lot of the general contractors, the higher general contractors in the lower mainland of BC. So we have some pretty huge contracts. So it's guaranteed we have work for the next at least 30 years if all of our contracts stopped now. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So you said you're on the team that does a lot of the putting in the piping and things like that you would run electrical through.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
But I've also done a lot of other things. Mm-hmm. So out of town work is a lot of service calls, which is super cool because you can see how a store is already running and then you have to problem solve how you're going to fix whatever is wrong without shutting down the store. And then a lot of finishing, which is super fun work to do because you're working with a lot of other trades, finishing up and closing all the loose ends. And that's when you get to make things look really pretty. You get to put up your lights, you get to make sure everything's straight and perfect, and you get to see everything come together. And there's just this pride that comes with that. When I saw my first building finished and I was like, oh, those lights outside, I put all those up, walked through the lobbies. That's my work right there. I've never felt that kind of pride before. It was pretty cool.
That is really awesome. And I don't think enough people have probably enough experience and can wrap their head around all of the really cool technology that's behind electrical now, especially on the commercial side, because everything is digital. And so they can do some really cool things with LEDs. So,
I've seen some, I wish I had my hard hat with me, but I've got LED strips on the front of my hard hat. But yeah, I've seen some insanely cool things that I never even thought existed before I entered the trade. And now I'm using it daily.
That's really exciting. Yeah. And with the way technology is moving and everything is computerized, all of those components are going with it, right? So like we have these really robust lighting systems and all of the electrical plan is all tied back to a building automation system. And it's really neat what they are able to do.
It's cool. I know. And then before I even thought about entering the trade, you flick a light switch, for example, you don't think anything of it.
Sure.
But when you're actually working on it and you're running it and you actually see how it works and see how much sense it makes, because for me, electrical makes sense. It's a lot of math. It's a lot of A to B and I understand it. So when you see how it works, you're like, okay, I can do that. I understand how to do that. I can make that happen.
What are some of the challenges that you have seen entering this career field for you?
I have to say probably my biggest challenge and something that continues to get me down is the comments people make. And unfortunately, it's a lot from people inside my personal life and not on the job site. Just, are you smart? You're not smart enough for that. Do you understand you have to do math? You can't just get the guys to do all the work for you. Are you strong enough for that? Do you understand what you're getting yourself into? And I've had like a lot of negative comments and it has gotten me down to the point where I'm like, maybe I should just quit and do something else.
Funny how the people around us who you think are going to be the people who support us are sometimes the people who don't understand. And if they could just go and spend some time on a job site and see, you know what I mean? I get that comment a lot. People who I haven't seen in a long time and they're like, you do what again? Like, like trying to explain it to anybody because they don't, like it doesn't equate for some reason. Right. So that's really great. So your shop then, your team, which is probably mostly male, as you mentioned, you only have one other woman on your team. Are they supportive?
Oh, they're amazing.
Okay.
I have worked with some of the most amazing people this past year. none of them have ever discriminated against me because I'm a woman. If anything, they're empowering. They're like, you can do that. They're not going to baby me. They're not like, oh, I'll carry the ladder for you, or I can drill for you, or I can do this because it's too heavy for you. They're like, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, then do it. But we know what you're capable of.
That's really cool that you have that supportive team around you.
And they've been so patient with me and so kind and welcoming. I was super surprised. And actually, every single crew I've worked with, because our company is so big, every time I get sent to a new site, it's a brand new crew. Never met these people before. And they act like brothers and dads. Anyone says anything to you, if anyone makes any comments, makes any moves on you, you come and tell us. And it's happened a few times, unfortunately, but they have gone to that and gotten the person kicked off site or XYZ, whatever is needed to happen and take place. But they are so defensive in it. I feel so safe with them.
That's awesome, because that's really the exact opposite of what you hear, or I think the fear that a lot of women have in joining a career that is mostly male dominated. Oh, I'm going to be discriminated against. But you've seen it, and I certainly have, that's not always the case. I mean, yeah, sure, things happen occasionally, but I would say the vast majority of the time, the people that you're working with are good guys.
Yeah. I was shocked when I saw that. I remember my first site. I was sitting in my car. I was almost about to throw up outside my car. I was so nervous. I was so scared. And I walked in and I had the biggest, warmest welcome from 12 guys sitting up in the office, and we're still friends. That was 10 months ago. We had a barbecue and we all still talk, and it's just, I wouldn't change it.
I would say that probably means that your company has a really good culture, and the culture starts from the top. And so that's phenomenal that you landed in a company that has really great culture, and probably their family, right? You feel family.
They're family owned. A lot of the foremen have been there 25 plus years, and apprentices get put through school. So obviously they stay, and then why leave after 5 years?
Absolutely.
So it's been great.
So if you had to say what mindset women need to have going into these careers, because it takes a certain mindset and a certain amount of confidence to step into a career that you may be the only woman in an entire construction site. So what mindset do ladies need to have in order to have the confidence to even attempt this?
The mindset is huge. A lot of it is pushing your own boundaries. I feel like going outside of your comfort zone, taking everything you hear with a grain of salt. You kind of have to just work around whatever they say, because on a construction site, anything really goes. But yeah, just push your own boundaries. Obviously do it to your own comfort level. But I've noticed a lot of the time guys will be doing a task and they're just doing it mindlessly or whatever. And I'm looking at them and I'm doing the same thing. And I'm like, I can't do this. But then I'm like, yes, I can. I can do it. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just like getting out of that box of like, well, they're stronger or they've been doing this longer or whatever. But it's like, I can do it. I'm capable, and just get up there and do it. And then once you do that, you gain so much respect from everyone around you. They see you working hard. They see you doing what you think you can't do, and you get so much respect from everyone.
That's awesome. I think sometimes we have to get past our own limits. We set our own limits, and it's really not other people that are setting limits for what we can accomplish. But if we can get past our own mindset and the limits that we're giving ourselves, like literally you could do anything.
Yep.
Which is super exciting.
Exactly it. Probably
if you could give any advice at all to women who listen to this podcast later on what they need to do to get started in this career, what would it be?
It would just be apply. Just apply and get hired, because you don't need much to get started. Just do it.
Exactly. But I think also look for that company like yours.
Yeah.
That has a really good culture, and don't settle, because there are a lot of companies out here that have a really good culture.
I have an internet friend. She's also an electrician in Vancouver, and we follow each other just because of that. And she unfortunately has had a really bad experience with her company. And it's funny you mentioned that, because before, I was applying at a lot of places, but where I was applying to, I was doing research before I even sent in an application.
Yeah.
Because culture is a huge thing for me, especially a lot of girls. We get very connected to the people we're around, and I don't know about everyone else. I can't speak for everyone else, but I get very Like those are my people, right? And if my people are negative and they're not going to be respectful, they're not going to be kind, they're not going to be helpful, I don't want to be around that. So I did my research and went with a really great company. That's a really good piece of advice too, is just do your research on where you're going to apply because it can vary.
And maybe even look beyond your own limits, because you just never know when you might end up somewhere that really is going to help you stretch and grow as a person.
Oh, totally. A lot of people were telling me to apply for residential electrical, and I was like, well, I just want to see what can I do in industrial, and it's like maybe I can do it. And I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't.
But I think a lot of people don't realize that how much money you can make in the industrial and commercial side of things, because we're talking big electrical, large switchgear and stuff like that. And the people who do that type of electrical are making six figures plus easily.
Yeah. The stuff you work with, it's insane and can be scary, but it's so cool.
Yeah, it really is.
I recommend it to so many people. It's so fun.
For sure. And if you're at all computer savvy, with everything being digitally connected now and lighting controls and all of the electrical controls are really neat. It's really moved beyond just working with your hands. Now everything is very tech savvy, which is really interesting. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they think about like trades work, they think dirt and mud and digging and stuff, but it's not all that. Like even I was doing some work I was doing like low voltage. So it was all of the Ethernet data, fiber optic, cameras, and door security. It's very clean work. You're working, it's after building's been finished, but it is super interesting and tedious. And I mean, even just on the electrical in the industry, there's so many different options you can do. Like you can do low voltage, do that kind of data stuff, or you can go into slab work like what I'm doing right now, that hands-on, hard, beat up everything kind of work and everything between.
Absolutely. That's exciting. So where do you want to be in 5 years? I always ask everybody, like, what's your future plans or hopes for where you're headed?
I don't know. I don't know if I can accomplish this in 5 years, but I do have a plan. And my plan is to become the first 4 women in my company. I have a few years of my apprenticeship ahead of me, but I have some really great teachers from my past foremans who 100% believe in me. And I talked to them about it and they were like, you can totally accomplish this. We'll request you on our sites and we want to hand off things to you. So yeah, the long-term goal is to become a foreman in my company, a first woman foreman, and run my own job site, top to bottom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. And I think you'll do it. I have confidence in you.
I hope so. That's been like my goal for a long time. And I've worked with such amazing foremans who they've given me everything and more that I could have asked for. And I want to give that to future apprentices. So I hope that I can get there.
Well, and I think you're a poster child for your company on how women can be successful. And so hopefully they're utilizing you as an example for other women to join the team.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
Absolutely. From high rises to electrical service calls, Julia Weiser is definitely leveling up in her career in commercial electrical work. Julia is able to walk into high rises and see the world from a very unique perspective. She is just one example of a young woman embarking on a great life for herself in an electrical trade. And by joining us today, she's helping other females to see themselves in a similar path. At Level Up Stronger, we're striving to help women improve their lives, provide for their families, and build a career. And what a better place than in the trades where women can be recognized for their competence, expertise, courage, and craftsmanship. We encourage all women to consider these industries. Talk to a woman in the field like Julia and get their perspective on how rewarding this experience has been. This has been another episode of Level Up Stronger. Join us next time for more on the lives of women in trades, careers, education, and so much more, and discover how you too can level up stronger in your life. Thank you for joining us on Level Up Stronger. For references to resources mentioned in this episode and to receive updates on future podcasts, check us out on social media or at levelupstronger.com. And remember, each time we take risk, educate ourselves, and apply what we've learned to our lives, we level up stronger. Each time we level up stronger, we have the opportunity to reach back and contribute to someone else's success too.